Attention! Go!
And I thought Calgary continued to look quite relaxed there as they sat on the start line, came forwards quite late, and then they've got up and into their pace as we have a look there at the Reading quad. Loretta Grove in the stroke seat, focused, looking straight down the boat, steering them away smoothly. Both crews steering quite good lines straight away from the start.
Especially Calgary, they went straight. They did not move away from the island at the end, which is a good indication.
Yeah, often easy to deviate because you see the bushes and the crowd coming, the island coming towards you, but they didn't let that affect them. And Calgary coming out the top of the island, now hitting some more bumpy water. You get shelter behind the island. Now there's some launch washes, and that could affect their strokes. See those blades going a little bit deep and coming a little bit shallow, flicking through, and that's not helping Calgary. They're not handling this quite as well as the crew from Reading on the inside.
Let's remember where Calgary is. It was the scene of the 1988 Winter Olympics. Cold. Most of Calgary trains on ergs for a much longer time of the year than Reading does.
Yeah, so it all freezes up, I assume, so there's no opportunity to get out on the water. So yeah, they might be fitter and stronger, but we need to see whether those blades can stay efficient and they can handle these difficult conditions. Reading, on the other hand, will train on this part of the river all of the time. They'll come up here whenever they want to. They'll use the river that flows right through Reading, and they'll be used to these kind of conditions. They're staying tucked in right on the far side. They're making the very best of any smoother water compared to what might be over here coming from the pleasure boats going up the side.
This is the first visit to Henley for Calgary Rowing Club. They were finalists at Canadian Henley last year, so I wish you wouldn't call that international, going from Eastern to Western Canada.
Just looking at the togetherness now of the blade work here in the Reading University Boat Club crew, and they're just moving so nicely and efficiently together. But I think that's what's making the difference for them.
That'll make such a big difference in the second half of the race, where Calgary is muscling it. They don't get the water time that Reading does.
Yeah, and let's have a look now. We can just see the blades just don't look like they're burying quite as cleanly. They're almost sort of going a little deep in the middle and coming shallow at the end, but they're feeling some nasty washes. They're going to come in after this and they're going to say those conditions were not kind to us.
And you can see Calgary, who gets their back into it much sooner than most of the quads out here, especially Reading. They're really lifting with their backs, using their shoulders in the rough water.
And you think that's causing them to not get all the efficiency out of it that they could? Do you think they should hold that till later in the stroke?
Absolutely. And it'll just, when you have tight muscles like that, by the second half of the race, they really do get stiff.
So we can see the Reading University crew here, like you say, very controlled with their shoulders as they pick the blade up, as they pick the work up there. The shoulders stay still, and then the press comes through those legs, then the backs come through, and then they just finish it with the arms. So it's a longer, more effective stroke they're able to make, as opposed to what we're seeing from that Calgary crew, was a little bit more of a punch.
Yes, they're really punching it, almost like you'd row an erg, whereas Reading is really accelerating their power through the stroke, which is a much more efficient way of doing it.
Yeah, so the crew's just coming past Forley, past the halfway mark. And as you say, these girls from Calgary have to use the ergs through the winter. And the thing with the erg is there's not much you can do to slow it down. You just pull that handle, and anything that you pull goes into speed. When you get out into the boat, you get out into the conditions like this, there's an awful lot that you can do that actually makes the boat go slower. Despite the effort you're putting in, you don't get the reward out.
No, but you know, they made it to Friday. They're doing really well from someone from a non-rowing city. Whereas Reading University crew is composed mostly of juniors for Great Britain. They have experience, they've raced in Europe. And they're putting on a very nice sculling display right now.
Yes, coming through the 3/4 mile course, 3/4 away, more or less through the course. And they're still moving very nicely. Able to enjoy a decent margin here as they pass the Remenham Club on the left there. And if they're smart, they'll be able to just hold something back for tomorrow, because we're on the Friday now. They'll be hoping they'll have 2 more races. So they want to make sure they've got that little bit left for tomorrow. And a lovely display of steering as well, that I'd say that Reading quad is a perfect distance off the booms to their right.
And look at their wash, which is held very well in the water. It's very, very straight.
Yeah, that's what you want to see when you sit in the stroke seat. You want to see, as Loretta Grove can, that clean line right out behind the boat, 4 puddles on each side, and a nice long gap in between those puddles.
They're rowing a very efficient race, which will help them tomorrow.
Yeah, and see the Calgary boat having to take on another wake from a pleasure boat that's just gone up the course there.
And I can assure you the wakes hurt a lot more when you're losing than when you're in front.
Well, Calgary here for their first visit to Henley Royal Regatta. I know their women's 8 as well have been enjoying their time in Henley, all 12 of them staying with the family, who I think they've been enjoying the hospitality, enjoying the experience of being in Henley, and I hope they're enjoying their time out on the water now.
Well, these girls are getting great experience to take back later this summer at the Canadian Henley. I'm sure they'll do much better, and it could be a few medalists.
Yeah, the Canadian Henley, that's an interesting event and an interesting name for it. It's near Niagara Falls, isn't it, Canadian Henley?
Yes, on the Canadian side, on the old Welland Canal, which is part of the inland waterway that connects all 5 Great Lakes. It was established probably in 1860. It's a very old regatta. It's the biggest regatta in Henley. Oh, well, sorry, in Canada. And the Canadians take it seriously. What a wonderful view right here.
And again, just seeing the blade work and the efficiency, the togetherness of this crew from Reading University. See him coming down there. Just moving nicely, as we say, he's experienced their Junior World Championships, University Championship medals in this crew. Coming down past this progress board, camera position, past the floating grandstand, into the line. So a smile on the faces, and congratulations on that win for Reading University over Calgary in the Princess Grace Challenge Cup.